smile, friend.
On February 15th, 1898, off the coast of Havana, a battleship called the USS Maine exploded. "266 American sailors were dead. Hearst was convinced that Spain was to blame and was determined to seize the opportunity. "Arouse everybody," Hearst telegrammed his team. "Maine is a great thing."
I've come to talk with you again because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
The 1964 Gulf of Tonkin Congressional Resolution authorized President Lyndon Johnson to conduct military attacks in Vietnam. This was considered a blank check for American military intervention that was based on lies.
And a vision that was planted in my brain still remains. With the sound of silence.
No, right now, at this moment, there is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis. Right now, the risk is still low.
Government officials say face masks are not necessary if you are healthy.
Wearing this as a healthy person will not protect you.
And stay safe by washing your hands, by covering your cough, by staying home if you're sick. Masks do not work for the general public in preventing them from getting coronavirus.
Right.
People should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it, because people are listening really closely to them.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
It's important for us to first and foremost protect our healthcare workforce. And it is imperative that they have the equipment that is needed. And so for everyday New Yorkers, we don't recommend the use of surgical masks.
We don't generally recommend the wearing of masks in public by otherwise well individuals.
Restless streets I walk alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Beneath the halo of a street lamp, turn my collar to the cold and damp, and my eyes were blind by the flash of a neon light that split the night, never touching the sound.
It isn't based on conjecture.
Variants, so you want people to wear masks for another couple of years. No. You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
No.
You can't get it again. There's virtually 0% chance you're going to get it, and yet you're telling people that have had the vaccine, who have immunity. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear masks who've been vaccinated. No. Instead, you should be saying there is no science to say we're going to have a problem from the large number of people being vaccinated. You want to get rid of vaccine hesitancy? Tell them they can quit wearing their mask after they get the vaccine. You want people to get the vaccine? Give them a reward instead of telling them that the nanny state's going to be there for 3 more years and you got to wear a mask forever. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it.
Fool said you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops fell, and no one dare disturb the sound of silence.
January 6th, when an estimated 2,000 rioters breached the Capitol building, causing the deaths of 5 police officers.
Certain dates echo throughout history. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. and January 6th.
The mob beat officers with anything they had on them: hockey stick, flagpole, a fire extinguisher. Police officers died.
Donald Trump supporters who, of course, rioted and killed police officers.
By the evening of January 6th, the Democratic Party and its publicists in the national news media had settled on a description of what had happened that day. They distilled an enormous number of highly complex events that even now we don't fully understand, into a single emotionally laden political slogan, which they've repeated for years with remarkable discipline. January 6th, they said, was a deadly insurrection.
There was a deadly insurrection that the right wing is trying to cover up.
He incited a deadly insurrection.
Incited a deadly insurrection.
The violent, deadly insurrection on the Capitol 9 months ago was about white supremacy, in my opinion.
A deadly insurrection. Everything about that phrase is a lie. Very little about January 6th was organized or violent. Surveillance video from inside the Capitol shows mostly peaceful chaos. But the slogan worked. The term deadly carries enormous emotional power, which is why they used it.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence.
To do the right thing, to protect the freedoms and the rights of Canadians, to get back to the things we love to do. We know the way through this pandemic is by getting everyone vaccinated. And the overwhelming majority, close to 90% of Canadians, have done exactly that. The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians.
And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they'd made. And the sign flashed out its warning, in the words that I was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophet were written on the subway wall, tenement hall.
You hear a lot about people being afraid to say anything and just wanting to keep their head down and stay out of controversy. That's not healthy for a democracy.
And echo to the world of silence.
I tell you what, this will not be the sound of silence. This will be the sound of the Unacceptables Live Fake News Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us live here. Thank you to everybody that's going to listen to and watch us back on a replay.
And just as a heads up, Scott, we have visitors on Facebook who don't show up on our StreamYard or our YouTube. We have 6 viewers on Facebook. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well.
Hello, Facebook. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We've got a great show for you. I have my good friend, my sidekick, and my brother-in-arms here, Jay, Mr. Unacceptable himself, Jay Shaw. Jay, how's everything with you?
Everything's pretty decent. I had a good day garden-wise. Did a couple of updates on the hothouse, and that went pretty well. My marijuana plants are doing really well. Yeah, and then
No, so did
yeah,
you say did you say pot house or hot house? I'm confused here.
Hot house, yeah.
Hot house, okay.
Hot house.
Gotcha.
Little wee green. There's just a little wee greenhouse, right? And I say hot house because today, at 21, or if you're American, that is 70 degrees, I think.
78. Or 72, sorry.
Oh, 70. 72. Okay. Yeah. So 72 degrees outside. And I go into to check the temperature. I have a thermometer in there. And it was like at 35 degrees already, which is what, 94, 93, 94?
Yeah. Sorry,
it was hot.
It was at 35, you said? 35?
In there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Just because I put it's all clear greenhouse, right? It's actual greenhouse plastic. And then on the back I put tinfoil on the north facing side, so the sun comes in, hits the tinfoil, and it's rebroadcasting. And then even in the base and the bottom of the tub, I have tinfoil down there and on the bottom, so that it's literally capturing it like you would in a light environment, right? But yeah, it got really fucking smoking hot in there. So lesson learned. I'll have to crack one of the doors open when it's really sunny or something. It was really sunny, but I mean, still, that's a really, really effective oven type of scenario. Could have killed them all. That was like at 1 o'clock. So like another couple hours and they could have gotten wiped out. They're only little still. So
you need to have your ventilation on thermal. I guess that's like a thermal switch. I forget. There's a term for it. So it's got a coil built into the switch, and when it gets to a certain set temperature, it kicks on or it kicks off a fan or a cooler or whatever. I used to use a bunch of them.
Sure.
I don't do any of that stuff anymore because I just use natural ventilation. Down here, I don't really need it. So that's what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a cheapo, right? Like I'm not gonna put anything fancy. So Fake News Tuesday. Let's kick it off. I have one bit of. I have here's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just real quick before we get kicked off here. So I just want to point out to everybody, at the bottom of every stream, you'll see a ticker going across the bottom. Our socials are there, and I see none of you from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I've had one or two people join, but almost nobody has joined the Telegram page. And if you want to know what's going on with us, with the Rabbit Hole Guild, and with the Unacceptables podcast, and with the content we're going to present every night, or not every night, every episode, go there. So the Telegram page is at the bottom here. It's t.me/Rabbit Hole Guild, right at the bottom, scrolling across, as well as a few other things. And generally speaking, a good old fuck you to the government. All right, sorry to interrupt, Jay. Go ahead. I'll give you the screen here.
Also, just capping that off for Scott. If you go to our YouTube page as well, at the top, it has our linked websites. It's on there. You can get the Rabbit Hole Guild app there, progressive web app. I believe that the same is true for Rumble. We can add that to the Rumble front page too. I believe we can link out. So that's another place where you'll be able to find stuff as well. For those, it depends what everybody likes. Some people like crazy amounts of notifications. Some people don't like so many. Some people, it's a whole cornucopia. So choose the platform that works for you. But really, at the end of the day, preference is on Rumble. Please support Rumble. The reason is because there's zero censorship. We are pretty fortunate here that we don't get censored. We are 18 plus because I fucking swear too fucking much for fucking YouTube. But that's good. I don't want kids watching this anyway. It's not for them.
Keep your kids out of our fucking stream because we swear a fuck ton, and we don't want to have our kids' sensitive ears get fucking pillaged by our swearing. So fucking keep your kids out
probably
of the fucking room,
okay?
Fuckity fuck. Okay, that should be enough to get us the adult content warning.
Yeah, I think so. I think most of those kids probably should have been eaten when their bones were so soft anyway. So but that's just me. Fake news. Posing this to the audience. True. Is this true or fake? At the turn of the 20th century, so 1900, there was a group of 9 elite individuals who had a vast control over most of the world. This is true. That's the true part. Haven't gotten to the question yet. Does that same organization, or, sorry, I should say, that same organization still exists today? Is that true, or is that fake news?
Wait, so
on my part.
hang on a second. Hang on a second. First of all, for Fake News Tuesday, we want everybody to, as Jay's going to indicate here, there's a story he's going to present, and we want you to decide whether it's fake news or whether it's true or real news.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we won't see you here unless you're on YouTube. We won't see you in the chat. But if you're on Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, or any of the other things, keep it to yourselves. We'll do the honor system this time around, but next time, get into Rumble or get onto YouTube so we can see your answers, and then we can talk about it afterward. So again, Jay, can you do that again, please, just so everybody can pay attention again?
And if you're watching,
so they know?
Yeah, okay. And if you're watching this, we will say spoiler alert at the part where we're going to give the answers. So that if you want some extra time to figure it out, you can. You can do all your little homework and fancy book learning things that you do. I know you're doing them, but I don't. Whatever. You can do what you want. Anyway, so here's the question. Again, just in 1900, most of the world was controlled almost completely financially by a group of 9 elite individuals. Those same 9 individuals are still exerting influence over the world today in a dominant fashion. Is that fake news or a true story? Okay, back to you, Scott. We will announce the answers at the end of the show.
All right, so
unless you're an asshole, and then we'll wait till Thursday just to fuck with you.
I mean, I kind of almost want to wait till Thursday now at this point. I mean, it's almost funnier if I do. What are you going to do about it if I don't? All right.
What's your initial answer, Scott? Your first. What's your gut instinct tell you?
I say it's fake news.
Okay. Well, we'll find out if Scott's right or not, and we'll find out if you're right.
We will.
And it's okay to be right. It's okay to be right and have nobody know too. Just so you know, as an adult, sometimes you can let somebody feel that they're right and have an inside laughter at them at their expense. It's almost like teasing them. Mm-hmm. But in a way that can't get you fucked up and doesn't actually affect anybody. But you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're right and maintaining the peace. You can do that. But if we start to do that all day, every day, at all times with everybody we fucking meet, we are going to become a bunch of fucking Cinco. So that is something that you must moderate intentionally as an adult and decide when you're going to just serve the general comfort of everybody around you in terms of subject matter, and when you are going to say, no, we are going to discuss this. If we have to do it confrontationally, then we will. Right?
It would beg to mention what a Cinco is as well. Perhaps you could clarify that for the readers, for the listeners and viewers at home, Jay. It could be the
Cinco,
readers too. I don't fucking know at this point.
Yeah. A Cinco is like the period of time when you're, I guess, a glimmer in your dad's eye, like before you're actually even embodied sperm, right? Like you're kind of like you're a thought and a concept, but not actually a living thing that has any right to oxygen or fair treatment or personal boundary.
So much like Joe Biden.
Yeah. And The View.
No shit. I think Jay, it might be that time again.
It is probably.
Yeah, I think it's this time. Time for a little body break. Was it? I submit to everybody watching and listening here. When's the last time you saw this? or heard this
And how big were your
jingle.
pants?
And how big how big were your pants? And hopefully they're smaller now after, So this is what Canada used to be about, right? We used to be active. We used to be like promoting fitness, and now it's like, if you're feeling depressed and you're overweight, we'll just offer you
Hang
maid.
yourself.
We'll do
yourself.
it for you. No, we'll do it for you.
Yeah.
We'll do it for
That's
you.
true, yeah.
We'll pay. You don't even have to go through it for yourself. We'll take all the difficulty out of it for you. So, for anybody who was ever contemplating suicide before, you can not have to worry about being too worried if you could do it or not, because the Canadian government has decided they'll do it for you.
Excuse not to have fun this summer.
There is no excuse. Look at these people. They're like older than fucking dirt, and they're climbing mountains.
Together, and you two can keep fit
And
have fun.
the people at home are probably like, oh, fuck, I don't want to get up and go protest, or I don't want to get up and go for a walk. Look at these people. Wasn't there somebody in a wheelchair doing a dance or something earlier? It's insane. Anyways, okay. Enough
Here's another good.
Enough buddy.
Here's a really good quick fake news. The suicide rate has always been drastically off, and the answer, the truth of that is in insurance company records, because there is a lot of fucking people who commit death by cop or commit suicide by cop because that doesn't void your life insurance, because the Supreme Court upheld that insurance companies had to leave shot by an officer of the law, not as suicide, because they tried to do that and they were denied. So how many times are people literally just trying to get their family's life insurance? Suicide by cop. Gross to think about.
It is gross to think about. Another thing that's gross to think about is suicide by rubber band. I think that seems pretty nasty. It sounds like it might hurt. Okay, so my fake
I hate
news,
that.
Yeah, me too. I hate that. Can you, like, the snapping just constantly, like, fucking snap, 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 snap. Can you imagine fucking being tortured like that to death? I don't know why we're doing this on Fake News Tuesday, folks. I'm not sure what's up with us, but either way, my fake news angle here is about to be revealed. So I'm going to start the clip, and then we're going to pause it part of the way through, just to
keep the R rating.
That, and because we can, I can stop this at any time, just so you know.
Yeah.
There are a few photos that are burned into the memory of every American. U.S. Marines planting our flag into Japanese soil during the Battle of Iwo Jima. Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston after landing a quick right hand. Nixon throwing up deuces after being the first president in history to resign. When a once-in-a-lifetime moment's captured on camera, it's priceless. Right now, Democrats are setting up what's going to be the most famous picture in American history, Donald Trump's mugshot. The most controversial president of all time will be the first president to have a mugshot if Democrats have their way. The Daily Mail reports Trump will be indicted tomorrow and arraigned next week. And Democrats are already drooling.
I certainly hope that the booking officer is respectful and doesn't take advantage of the opportunity to play some, stupid joke. Mr. President, this will be your mugshot, so I'm going to snap the photo on the count of 3, okay, Mr. President? 1. Here we go. Hang on. 1, 2. Hit the wind machine. 3.
Al Franken knows how powerful a photo can be. Remember, his political career was ended by one.
That was pretty good, right?
Trump's
I thought
mugshot's going to be lethal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the Democrats' next election. It's no coincidence this frail bookkeeping case was brought right as Trump was rising in the polls. Biden's going to use Trump's mugshot in every campaign ad from now until next November. It's going to be on the front page of every newspaper and lead story of every network and cable show. Democrats will print T-shirts up and put it on billboards.
All right, so fake news here is pretty simple. Trump's about to be arrested for something that's beyond the statute of limitations. And They already tried to arrest him for it, and this is a last-ditch effort because they know they're going to lose badly to Trump. The Democrats are going to lose horribly to the Republicans.
To anybody, any Republican. But Trump will beat him worse than anybody else.
I could show up there next week and get citizenship and run and still beat the Democrats. That's how fucked up they are right now and how badly they've done this run. And there's no coming back from what they've done. So again, I suppose the fake news angle is, Trump's going to be arrested. But let's just see here. I'm going to let the clip keep playing here.
It's going to be the most famous meme of all time. And once it's released, it's going to be the most viral image ever. The public will have the picture about 30 seconds after that flash goes off. It took primetime, what, a month to get Pauly P's DUI mugshot? And he actually committed a crime. We had to write letters. We had to get lawyers involved. Hey, Allie. But Pauly P has Democrat privilege. They're obsessed with getting Trump's mugshot. And they're going to use it against the former president, the 74 million people that voted for him, and anybody else who supports him in 24. Democrats will say, oh, you think we're soft on crime? Republicans nominated a man who was booked and fingerprinted and incited a riot. Biden's family got cash bribes from China. Who cares? There's no mugshot. Democrats will run on Trump's a criminal and he's leading a dangerous movement of white supremacists. That's it. That's the Biden 2024 campaign. He called his shot last year, remember?
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
They crucify the man and then they criminalize the reaction. They know Trump's going to beat the rap, but it's not about the case. It's about the mugshot and what happens after. When Trump retaliates, they'll investigate him on a new charge. This is how Democrats play the game. They spied on the Trump campaign. Trump smoked it out, fired Comey, and then they unleashed a special counsel on him for 2 years. They even tried to charge him for obstructing, a crime he didn't even commit. You're not allowed to resist. That's the point. They shut your business down over COVID, fine you if you open it back up. They suppressed Hunter's laptop before the election, then censored you and called you a conspiracy theorist if you talked about it. They force girls to change in the locker room with boys, teach our kids racial and sexual propaganda, and then call you a terrorist when you speak up. And once you're a terrorist, they can do whatever they want to you. Use war on terror tactics on a political movement. Persecute the man and then prosecute the reaction. For years, the media told us how chanting "lock her up" would end democracy.
Donald Trump would use "lock her up" as a call and response to his audience about you. And it was guttural, the amount of rage directed at you personally.
And we kept hearing also that phrase, "lock her up." Lock her up. You heard that last night. You heard references to put her in jail the night before. Tough stuff.
They told us only tyrants jail their political opponents. And now they're cheering it on.
Are you saying that today might not be the day for the indictment? Stop toying with my emotions. Are you saying it's not going to happen today? I don't think it's not fair to me.
You should prosecute the case. You should always have them in a timely manner. But the timely manner was a year ago. That timeline is the 2024 election cycle.
Yeah, the lock her up was a joke. Trump never indicted crooked, but they're going after him hard. They never cared what Trump was arrested for. They just wanted him behind bars. They aren't prosecuting a crime. They're prosecuting a person. Democrats arrest the Republican frontrunner and then bait you into reacting and then arrest you if you do. They disenfranchise you and then call you a domestic extremist. Remember, BLM rioters weren't called terrorists after they burned cities down, looted, billions in damage, thousands of cops injured. Cartels aren't called terrorists when they pump poison into our streets, shoot down Americans. They call Antifa an idea as they're lobbing Molotov cocktails and bricks at cops and civilians. Look at the junkies and lunatics just slicing open innocent women and people right in front of train tracks. They're not designated terrorists. That's all fair play. But if you're running for the Republican nomination and settled a civil case with a woman, they want to handcuff you in front of the whole country. Even the president of Mexico, not known for its democratic institutions, says arresting Trump's a democratic scam to remove an opponent. Watch.
President Trump is declaring, the ex-president Trump, that they're going to detain him, I think today, for an issue supposedly, like the lawyers say, allegedly, yes, amorous. And they're going to detain him. If that was the case, well, the whole world would know, because we are not sucking our thumbs. That it is so he will not appear on the electoral ballot. And if I say that is because it seems a fabrication of a crime, because they don't want him to be candidate.
There it is. If you're going to arrest a president, there better be a dead body or a suitcase full of cash. Or as Kilmeade says, a suitcase full of dead bodies. This is one of the most twisted campaigns in U.S. history. A former president has never been arrested. The leading presidential nominee, never been arrested. And this isn't just any old prosecutor. This is a far-left prosecutor that doesn't want to lock anybody up except Trump. He campaigned on it.
A lot of people are wondering, whoever has this job, are they going to convict Donald Trump?
Look, that is the number one issue. I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the attorney general's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold them accountable.
Alvin Bragg's guilty of prosecutorial misconduct, and he should be disbarred. And the timing's perfect, isn't it? No one's talking about Biden's Chinese bank records this week. No one's talking about Russia buddying up with China. No one's talking about the crime wave or the broken border. This is just a mugshot hunt. And once they get it, you won't be able to unsee it until Election Day.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews. And
Sean Hannity.
Sean Hannity.
Shut up, Hannity. Fucking lace curtain Irish motherfucker. That's what they call them, lace curtain Irish in Boston. That's
lace curtain
if you're
Irish.
like yeah, like if you're wealthy, if you're an Irish person that's wealthy, they call you lace curtains. Like you're pretending to be something you're not.
Oh,
on the other side.
I thought it might indicate because you could afford lace curtains. What do I know? I don't know.
I don't know. It's funny. They're funny there. I went there twice for St. Pat's and stayed for a few days. Yeah, it's a cool place. But anyway, it's kind of sounds like a liberal shithole now. But Jesse Waters, good job, and also good job for everything he puts up with from Greg. Holy fuck, this Greg fucking kick him in the balls a lot.
Yeah, he does.
I think I might. Jesse does a great job.
Greg, for my next clip.
It's Jesse's only problem is he looks like a used car salesman. That's the thing. He's an easy target because
he does
look like a used car salesman.
He does. But I mean, nobody's perfect, right?
You got a clip, or you want me to roll one first?
You know what? Go ahead. Mine will follow up. Go ahead.
Okay. Cool.
A Republican bill to block pension fund managers from basing investment decisions on factors like climate change cleared Congress on Wednesday, setting up a confrontation with President Joe Biden.
The resolution is passed.
The U.S. Senate voted 50-46 to adopt a resolution to overturn a Labor Department rule making it easier for fund managers to consider environmental, social, and corporate governance or ESG issues for investments and shareholder rights decisions. Political battle marks the latest clash in a Republican war against what they decry as woke business practices that is likely to intensify as the 2024 presidential campaign gets underway.
We've really been fighting this woke agenda.
Two Democratic senators, Joe Manchin and John Tester, voted with Republicans. Republicans claim the rule, which covers plans that collectively invest $12 trillion on behalf of 150 million Americans, would politicize investing by allowing plan managers to pursue liberal causes, which they say would hurt performance. Representative Virginia Fox.
Due to Biden's reckless economic policies, too many Americans are worried about rising cost of living. Diverting retirement savings to fund social justice causes will make this problem even worse.
I mean, I'm worried about rising cost of living, for fuck's sakes.
So there it is. ESG, Congress and Senate, the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate have both decided to ban pension funds from buying BlackRock. Essentially, BlackRock. I mentioned a while ago during Davos. I said I don't know how much longer BlackRock is going to be with the WEF because ESG is about to get its ass kicked, and now it's been passed to law. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm a big deal on that one, and then just say like this is how the tides can turn. This is the example. So a lot of the times I give people examples. This is what you can show to people who are not thinking. Give them this so they can think critically, right? In this case, what I'm saying is show that to somebody who has completely given up and says there is absolutely no road back. You show them that and say, this is a win. And you start to pile wins on top of each other, and pretty soon things start to look drastically different, right? We see that flex. They flexed, and Donald Trump did not get indicted. There's wins every day, and it's really easy to see all the things that are not done yet, and that's good. We need to be aware, but we need to know that pushing back helps. And there's more than one way to vote. You don't just vote in a ballot box every 4 years. You vote with your wallet. You vote with your fucking keyboard. You vote with your mouse. You vote with your apps. Those are all votes. This is all, every capitalist place is democratic, and every democratic nation is capitalist. So the simple fact is that you vote in everything that you do. You control the market. You can ice out people until the point where they have to give up and say, you know what, I'm not going to alienate people. You can do that. That's a vote. Where you choose to spend your money is a vote. You're voting for which thing you believe in. And if you don't know anything about the person that you're procuring something from, that's probably, you're more likely to get burned. You're more likely to come away from that with a subpar experience. And you might be buying two subpar experiences for more than what would have cost to go local and to get something Canadian made. It might pay out in the long run. I know people have been running King Canada table saws for 20 years.
I think it stands to reason too as well. Follow the money. There's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of research, especially if you're going to invest in something. Maybe it's a stock online, maybe it's a business purchase. Follow the money. Find out who is this company connected to. Jay and I do a lot of that stuff in our own personal lives just because of our thirst for knowledge and our thirst for truth. That usually ends up bleeding into the stream. And our paranoia. We're also very paranoid. Clearly, I mean, can you blame us though?
Am I being paranoid about being enslaved? No, it's not paranoid to not want to be enslaved. That's what I tell people. It's not paranoia.
Exactly.
It's a really shitty thing to happen. You don't want it to happen.
I don't want to be a slave. You know what you know what I think we need right now, Jay?
I don't know yet, but you're going to tell me.
I'm going to tell you because I think it's just going to have to happen. All right.
That's. I only give you one job. Just that's it. Just tell me.
So, my plan is by the end of the stream, you're all gonna have this theme song burned into your brain like an earworm, and you're gonna hate us forever just for this. Body break.
Yeah. Right in the cerebral cortex.
I'm gonna hit you right in the cerebral cortex. All right, that's enough of that. I'll get that out of here. Get that out of here. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Who keeps doing that? What kind of asshole would do something like that? I don't know.
There was when I lived in Calgary, there was a radio talk show host named Jerry Forbes. Shout out to Jerry Forbes.
I know Jerry Forbes. I mean, I don't know Jerry Forbes, but I know of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's a champ. He is literally the champ. So I mean, yeah. But he used to. Every April Fool's, he would pick some god-awful song that CJ92 would never, ever play, and he would play it like fucking 12 times in like 2 hours.
CJ92, man, I remember that song.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's the good stuff. Yeah, he had the best prank phone calls too. He did Charlton Heston one time. He phoned up one of the hotels because Charlton Heston was in town. They knew where he was staying, so they phoned up the front desk and they said, and he goes, "This is Charlton Heston in the penthouse. I got the fruit basket you left, but the damn dirty apes got it." And he starts freaking out. Holy fuck, it was funny. This guy at this hotel was wound right up. He thought Charlton Heston was actually losing his shit, Planet of Apes style. It was so fucking good. Oh, I sound like Bruce Springsteen right now.
What? How? Maybe I missed something.
Glory days. Yeah, they'll pass you by. Glory days. Yeah.
Throw it up a little bit in my mouth.
Yeah, guy goes into a bar because he sees the banner out front of the bar says Bruce Springsteen live tonight. And he goes walking in and he's looking around and it's just a little fucking bar. And he goes, "Is Springsteen really playing here?" And the bartender's like, "Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays." And he's like, "Oh shit." So he goes and he sits down and he orders a drink and he's like, "How come there's nobody here if Bruce Springsteen's gonna play?" And the guy goes, "Bruce Springsteen isn't here yet either. Even he doesn't want to hear his tired old fucking music." But yeah.
Yeah, no, he you know, I used to call Bruce. I have a lot of. There's a little bit. Here's something you need to know about me, folks. I make up names and lyrics. So I'll make up names for artists and I'll make up lyrics for songs that are overplayed. And Bruce Springsteen in my world became Loose Bed Springs because that's what his voice sounds like. Squeaky. So that's always been his name.
That's so true.
There is some form of logic to when I do it. Or
I never even thought of that until you said it.
John Cougar Mellencamp was always John Cougar Menstrual Cramp, just because it sounds like he's having a menstrual cramp.
Yeah.
So, all right. Enough about me. I think I might have overshared there a little bit. All right, I got a clip here for us. Let's just roll the clip because
you just maintaining the R rating, buddy. That's all. You just got to maintain the R rating.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my solid best.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna mute you.
10-4.
Happy Monday. You're all so beautiful. So beautiful. Talking to myself. So it's bagpipes versus crack pipes. Hunter Biden has finally put some pants on and is now suing Delaware repair shop owner John Paul Mac Isaac. What happened to George and Ringo? A lot of names. It's being sued for invasion of privacy. Yes, Hunter is suing him for invasion of privacy. Hunter, who's been seen nude by more people than the statue of David. Honestly, in the last year, I've seen this guy's genitals more times than his primary care physician. And I would get that checked out. He's invaded my privacy, the privacy of my own nightmares. As you know, Mr. Mac Isaac claimed Hunter dropped off a laptop for repair in April 2019 and then never came back. Mac Isaac even has an invoice with Hunter's signature, although those pages are stuck together. But for once, Hunter signed on a line instead of snorting it. The laptop contained not only salacious photos and videos of the naughtiest little Biden cavorting with hookers and crack, but also copious evidence of the Biden family's massive international corruption. Specifically, the family received over $1 million from accounts linked to Hunter's Chinese
These are the best pictures we've ever had in this stream.
And finally, even CNN admits that, you know, on a certain level, just as a layperson, you hear this and it doesn't sound good.
On a certain level, just as a layperson, you hear this, and it doesn't sound good. There's a guy whose name is John Robinson Walker. He gets $3 million from a Chinese space company and proceeds to wire it out to a bunch of people named Biden. one of whom is Hunter Biden. Another one is a company that belongs to the president's brother, James Biden, and another amount of money to Beau Biden's widow, Hallie. So again, from a layperson, that doesn't look good.
She's a layperson. She's a layperson twice. Of course, the Biden 2020 campaign and every liberal journalist in the world insisted without evidence that the laptop's contents were Russian disinfo, when really the only thing Russian on that laptop were probably the hookers.
Hunter Biden, this laptop that intelligence officials have warned is likely Russian disinformation.
Are tied to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
Could actually be part of Russia's latest and very massive disinformation campaign.
U.S. authorities are seeing if those emails we just talked about are connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
It's sort of a crazy quilt at this point, which has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
The fake news is that this was never Russian disinformation.
Oh, a crazy quilt with all the hallmarks. Sounds like something Don Lemon wears on spring break. Of course, that disinfo claim was ridiculous to begin with. I mean, what was the theory supposed to be anyway? That Putin set up a fake computer repair shop in Wilmington? Just on the remote chance that a decade later, a presidential candidate's crackhead son would stumble inside and abandon a bunch of juicy evidence that might swing a presidential election. That conspiracy theory is as thin as Joe's hair on his head. But also, Hunter wouldn't sue anybody for violating his privacy if it's fake evidence planted by the Ruskies, right? And now all the news outlets that push the Russian disinfo lie are just pretending they never made that claim, which suggests that Joe's dementia was always more contagious than COVID. So, you know what I've noticed lately? We were right about everything. And by we, I mean me, also you. If you agree with me, if you don't, go screw yourself. Yes. Let's go over a few other stories we nailed that the rest of the media didn't. For example, TikTok is indeed spying on us for the Chinese government. I wouldn't applaud that. Now, I'm not on TikTok for obvious reasons. First, I'm not a 14-year-old girl yet. Still waiting for the puberty blockers. But if I were, the Chinese government would be doing to me what they're doing to other American girls, messing with their heads. But also, I don't want the Chinese Communist Party watching me while I'm alone in my apartment. I mean, what if Taylor Swift realizes I did keep her sweatshirt? But that Chi-Com spy app has rapidly become an essential part of American life. Or at least Gretchen Whitmer's advisors think so.
These are my ladies. This is Jill. This is my lady Amy. Little Susie. Brianna. You know why we call her Brianna, right? It's a long story. Shaniqua. Helga. Miss Kitty. Jeannie. I dream of,
Well, you know, that's one way to keep the kidnappers at bay.
The BC government can help you get from here to here.
By making them nauseous. But Dems love their TikTok, and they're distraught that the White House might ban it, because now Joe, finally admitting that China is our enemy, they planted a spy on every cell phone in America, and it's not racist now to notice that. Just the name of the app alone kind of gave it away. TikTok, as in time is running out on your world dominance, America. Speaking of China, COVID-19, yes, was a lab leak. Not too long ago, you weren't even allowed to speculate that the virus was made by human hands, especially the tiny ones of Anthony Fauci, when he wasn't practicing his autograph.
A fairly large group of very well-respected evolutionary virologists have come to the conclusion, not definitively by any means, but feeling that it is much more likely that it is a natural occurrence from an animal to a human. However, since it hasn't been definitively proven, we've got to keep a completely open mind.
Oh, okay. So now it's okay to have an open mind. Because remember, it wasn't before. You know, it was bat soup, or you're a racist. So there's an entire multi-billion-dollar industry devoted to dismissing everything we say. And those accusing us follow a pattern. They first define our opinions as not worthy of debate, using disinformation as a smear. And if that doesn't work, they call it hate speech. But we were right. They pretend they're the ones who are right all along instead. It's as if they're so dumb, they think all they have to do is repeat, "That's not true."
It is not going to be. That is not true. That is actually not true. No, it's actually not true.
Joy,
It's actually not true. It's actually not. But it's actually not true.
Financial community.
That's actually not true. That's actually not
true. Will go and solve.
That's actually not true.
Those are the facts.
That's not true.
Should we not be
That is
prepared
not
for
true.
that?
It's like she's reading her old bigoted blog posts to her gay friends. So the liberal media has a huge blind spot. It's called the truth. And no matter how many times they get it wrong and try to silence us for saying so, they still expect us to trust them. So once in a while, it feels nice to bask in being proven right. If vindication were chocolate cake, I'd look like this guy. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He gets carded when buying root beer. Host of the Guy Benson Show, Guy Benson. I think we use that. After the Ford Mustang, she's Michigan's favorite two-door. Former Michigan GOP candidate for governor, Cooter Dixon. Airlines try to charge him for the bags under his eyes. Comedian Jim Roomer. And she's like a paperclip, light, wiry, and barely trying to keep it together. Fox News contributor, Cat Tube. Guy, thank you for taking a break from reading children's books to orphans. Doesn't he look like you used to be reading a little book about the little engine that could?
Oh, I thought that was a drag joke.
Are you amazed how right I am on everything, and maybe that's why I am your role model?
You are inspirational, Greg. No one's ever doubted that. So this new allegation about the documents, and now even more Bidens were getting money, I guess, from China. I saw the president was asked about this over the weekend, and he stood there and he was confused, and then they explained it to him, and then he put on this little grin and he said, "That's not true." Sort of like Joy Reid, actually. That's not true. That was his whole rebuttal. And I've been thinking about this, and I believe him.
Oh, really?
I believe him. His word as a Biden means a lot to me, Greg. And he's told us nothing but the truth about this stuff so far, right? He told Peter Doocy 2 summers ago that he knew nothing about any of the foreign business dealings of his son. That's obviously correct. He told us that the laptop was Russian disinformation. I mean, yes, he's right again. So he's, in my mind, he's 3 for 3. And he's basically like George Washington reincarnate, and I believe him.
Fantastic. So basically, you're saying, yes, Greg, I'm right on everything.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I need.
That's the upshot.
Thank you. Tudor, welcome to the show. I wish you weren't here and instead governor.
I agree with you on that.
Yes.
So you're right.
Yeah, there you go. See? See, that's how it works. See how that works? That's why I'm seated here and you're over there in that dad sweater. Where do you see the Hunter Biden thing going? Is this something where, like, sometimes I wonder if we're just mirroring what they did with Trump, where you just keep saying the walls are closing in, the walls are closing in. They never close in.
No, I see this. I see a lot of feminists rising up because we see this coming out. And of course, the woman gets paid the least.
Yes.
I mean, give me a break.
Yes.
Like with 30 grand?
Yeah, I know.
30 grand to sleep with Hunter? What?
Yeah, if it were, yes, exactly. That was all, what, 30 grand? That's how much he paid Hallie Biden.
That's what I read.
Right. I think Stormy Daniels got like 10 times that, right? See? If you're going to compare them, at least Trump's a big spender. Here's the thing, okay? We're talking about all these transactions. What's missing in the entire story is who paid taxes. Like, isn't that the easiest way to figure this stuff out? If there was $1 million, they split it 3 ways, the check comes in, they have to pay taxes on it.
That's right, but you know the Chinese probably paid the taxes for them. I mean, they're welcoming them in right now.
Yeah.
You know, just pay the taxes for us.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You look happy.
I am happy.
You're always happy.
The story cracks me up.
Yeah. What makes you laugh about it?
Well, just the whole pitch. How did it get from, yeah, no, I know there's hookers on there. I know some of them may have been underage. I know I might have sold some documents, like selling missiles, but it's private. Doesn't that mean anything anymore? Yeah, I mean, God, dead animals, but it's private. Yes, there's people tied up in the trunk, but it's private.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, it was amazing that before, I mean, it was interesting when it first came out. It was like he was the one who didn't say anything.
He always looked lost. Like,
Yeah. And there's that's a pretty good.
Sorry, I was
Aren't you
mugging to the
jealous?
camera.
Aren't you jealous of
Jealous?
Hunter? I'm just jealous that there's a family member in somebody's family that makes money rain, that makes it rain for you. Like he's just out getting. Wouldn't you like a sibling like that?
He's just here's 1 million. 2 million.
Almost literally.
Oh, I'm in Ukraine. Oh, I'm in China board. I don't know any of this. This is amazing. Thanks, Dad.
I just want to point out to the producers that he's actually imitating milking a cow.
Yes, this is milking cat.
He was not doing a video. That's amazing you people even know what I'm talking about. You're not even supposed to laugh at that stuff. It's supposed to go over your head.
You guys are sick.
They are sick. Pretty funny when they walk out as the Hannity audience walks in. It's like that scene in the Poseidon Adventure when they walk past each other. So, Kat, we actually are right. Nobody gives us credit. So I have to do this all the time. Are you happy that I get to say that I'm right all the time now? That I'm being vindicated?
Except for the times when you're not right.
I say I'm wrong a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Not here, though. Yeah. What makes it more irritating is like this family, this Biden family, they love being rich.
Yeah.
And they love getting more rich. But then they also don't want me to ever get rich.
Yeah.
I'm making money through going to work at a job.
Yeah.
Like the normal way. And they're like, well, actually, you need to give me your fair share of that money you earned. I'm like, what the You have, and you're doing all this, and it's like China, the Saudi government, and it's Ukraine, all these different things, and it's like you're doing all this shady stuff because you love being rich, and yet there's no such thing as your fair share of my money that I am earning in the legal, normal way.
And also, none of us here, none of us here have foolproof investment strategies. Like we lose money, they don't. We're only privy to certain kinds of investments, like the stock market, which terrifies me. I invested in stupid stuff, but this is 1,000% return. In fact, there is no return because you're not putting any money in. It's just coming to you.
Here's the foolproof solution, Greg. Change your last name to Biden. Legally.
Gutfeld gets you nothing.
Biden exclamation point starting tomorrow, and the money just flows in.
This is why I'm not having kids. I always say, no kid's going to sponge off my last name. If I could not sponge off of Gutfeld, right? No kid's going to sponge off me.
But rather than the same thing.
Rather than being the big guy, though, you would be the little guy.
Ugh. That was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. We had a nice segment. Everybody was getting along. We have a new panelist here, and then he comes on here and has to insult the host in front of a new guest. I'm okay with it, but we're going to talk about it after the show, and you know where.
You come after my sweater.
Yes.
I'm going to fire back.
Yes. By the way, you're wearing it inside out. Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Sean Hannity again. I guess he likes to be popular on the old stream. It's almost like he's plugging for viewers there. I'm assuming everybody knows what the fake news angles were there. They're pretty easy to figure out, obviously. Jay, you with us there? Nope. Jay is muted. It's that ghost mute.
I ghosted myself.
It gets us every time, the ghost mute. The ghost mute gets us.
All right. Here's a Canadian one. This is the latest on C11. This is somebody basically saying saying fake news in a fairly articulate way, considering he's a politician.
Normally, there would not be much debate in the House when we talk about making updates to a broadcasting act that came into effect in 1991. At face value, most Canadians would say that a lot has changed since then. A little thing called the internet came along, and again, most would agree. I've talked about this topic in the House before, and I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty sure I was the first MP in Canadian history to put boys to men in the parliamentary record when talking about the legislation before us, because back in 1991, times have changed a little bit. Boys to men, Bryan Adams, MC Hammer, and Monty Python were on the charts. I want to put that back on the record again. I'm glad I've done that. The goals of the Broadcasting Act have been reasonable, respecting official languages and providing an avenue for Canadian content on traditional media at the time of TV and radio. But here's the thing I've said in the House, sadly, on many issues over and over again. Only the NDP and the Liberals working together can they take something so mundane and so innocuous and make a disaster out of it when it comes to policy. And here's how I know that, Madam Speaker, because outside of the Ottawa bubble, there aren't too many Canadians that know what C4 or S252 or C39 is when it comes to government legislation. You know the government is in trouble. You know when they were on the wrong side of public opinion when a bill title becomes famous. Last couple of weeks, couple of months, C21 has become synonymous with an attack on rural Canadians, Indigenous communities, and hunters when they tried to ban commonly used hunting rifles. And here we are now with the famous term C11, known by millions of Canadians across the country today as the most blatant attempt by the Liberals and NDP and bureaucrats in Ottawa to have control over what you see and what you search on the internet.
I mean, absolutely good points. All the way around.
Yeah.
It's a blatant attack on what you see. It's a blatant attack on your intelligence, because it's assuming that you're not intelligent enough to decipher what is real and what is not real, and you're not intelligent enough to do your own research, and you'll just take a narrative and run with it without examining it or without having your own intelligence to put in on it. And I don't think that that's the state that the society is in this country, certainly, or in many countries, but maybe there's a couple out there. I'm not a citizen of any country but Canada, but I would think that people are intelligent enough still, and I'm stretching a little bit here, but still to decipher what is real and what is not real, and what should be given a proper view or a proper review. And
yeah. And this guy says it best when he points out that they like the problem here, like, look at how famous this is, look at the pushback. That's not heard of. Well, that's because for about 40 years, these things were so sneaky and divisive and behind the scenes, and people weren't paying enough attention, and all this shit went on. And now all of a sudden there's a populace who's like, okay, you're going to pass a bill? Okay, I'm going to just read this. I'm going to read this because the last time you said it was going to be a minor thing, the whole fucking world economy got fucked in the butt. So I'm going to read, and then people are reading and they're going, no, I don't like this. And then they're phoning up their members, and their members are pushing back. And pretty soon you have Liberal senators voting down Liberal bills. That's why this hasn't passed yet, because there's Liberal and NDP senators who will not vote for C11. They've asked for 26 amendments 2 weeks ago, right? But what's fake news about this is the masquerade of it all. They prop C21 up as, we're going to take the handguns, and then it just expands. And then they prop C11 up as, well, we just want to make sure people don't get plagiarized and protect Canadian content. And pretty soon algorithms are involved in all these things. And it's like, that's really dirty, but it's great that we finally have a populace that's seeing it and saying, no, I don't like that. No, none of that. And they read about it and they pay attention to it. And every time somebody talks about it in Parliament, somebody like us is doing this and somebody's seeing it. And it's great. It's a wonderful thing.
So
this is what we can do.
Absolutely, and I suppose the upshot is here, folks, that you don't have to be famous, you don't have to have a big voice, you just have to have some ability to stand up and say your piece. And if you say your piece, it's going to get noticed. And the fact that worldwide C21 and C11 are known, as well as C5. A lot of people forget about C5. That's the little known bill that was introduced at the same time as C21. I'm going to touch on that in another stream. I don't want to get into it now because we've run past our time already. But it's interesting to me that we are now in a time in our history, in our Canadian history, where our bills are known internationally as not good. Your government, your current Liberal government, is known internationally as not a good government. So that should speak volumes. I hope that speaks volumes to everybody out there.
And you know who blew it up? It was one of the smartest Canadians that started to blow up these liberal bills, and that was Jordan Peterson with C16. Before that, we didn't see this kind of action on bills, right? But Jordan Peterson really turned things around in 2016, and the intellectual dark web came out of it, and Brett Weinstein, and there's a lot of it was a culture revolutionizing thing that was done there, and he didn't even expect it to be anything at the time. He was doing it purely with no self-interest whatsoever, but he was rewarded, and so that's an amazing thing. So it's great that happened.
It's
that's
really
where
great.
It comes from.
And another amazing thing is this. I'm hoping I damage all of your minds and your psyches in this stream because, and maybe I'm doing it. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is my like PSA, my public service announcement. Get out, be active. So I'm gonna go with that. Although really, I'm just trying to annoy people as much as I can, and I'm trying to get this stuck in your brain so you just wake up in the morning going, body break.
It's mostly a Lake Louise commercial too, eh?
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. You can golf here and you can ski.
Look at these people. You can't tell me you don't feel motivated. Like there's like 75-year-old ladies doing aerobic exercise. I don't know what they were doing there. Some kind of dance class, something. That guy's like got to be 90 climbing a mountain. How could you not feel motivated watching this? I don't know.
Participation, man. Participation.
Oh, now you just did another one. Maybe I'm going to have to do the participation next one.
I knew I'd pull a thread out of that eventually. I'm good. I'm a thread ripper, man. I can rip some threads.
I think we are just about done here. Do you have any more clips, Jay?
I got the answer to the quiz. It's right here. Mr. Charles Hoskinson, one of the geniuses of our times, has the answer right here.
I keep telling the same story over and over again. So I have a banner on the back of my Twitter profile. I get asked often, like, what's the point of this? And it's been years that I've had it there. And recently, Balaji got the point. He said, it reminds me a bit of the early 1900s. In 1910, you still had these 9 royals meeting. The world of princes was still around and seemingly immortal. And he got the point that the vast majority of them got knocked off within 10 years. Why? Because things that seem permanent and stable, they change quickly. And it's something that people don't want to admit. But then after the fact, they say, oh, well, that was obvious. When I was still the CEO of Ethereum many years ago, in a past life, I tried to get a Credit Suisse account when we were in Switzerland, because, it's 2014. And the Credit Suisse people said, oh, it's too dangerous with crypto. We couldn't possibly consider it would be so unstable and so terrible. And we have a reputation to protect. We're here for the long term. We've been here for over 150 years, and we couldn't embrace this crypto thing. And lo and behold, who's buying Credit Suisse, UBS, only if the Swiss government bails them out. You see, the banking system in general is falling apart. And it's falling apart predictably so because it's always been a Ponzi scheme. You have this business where you take other people's money and then you use that to multiply and create money out of thin air, give it to people all around the world, and then you make windfall profits from it until people get a little shaky, in which case you socialize your losses and give those losses to society. And this is what's happened for years in the banking industry.
So I guess the point of that being, folks, number one, all of those people that were running the world in 1900 were dead within 10 years. So no, the people who are in charge now haven't been in charge since forever ago. They only had access to the market about 90 years ago. So there's number one. Number two, the banking system is propped up on falseness, and it's horrific. And yes, it's going to collapse, and that was kind of inevitable from World War II onward. What we're seeing right now that's amazing is, as Scott has mentioned, as I've mentioned, as many people have mentioned, Tim Pool has mentioned, Bitcoin is doing all right. Lots of crypto is doing all right. Gold is doing fantastic. The United States has a labor shortage. There's a lot of people operating on a parallel economy that you don't even know is there. And you don't know it's there because it's kind of like Fight Club, right? Nobody's really been talking about it. Well, now it's slowly inching towards it's going to replace the old system. And it's not going to be controlled by the WEF because they're losing BlackRock. They just lost $12 trillion. They have access to $12 trillion less than they had a week ago, right? That's how well the WEF's doing. This thing is rolling. Do we want the banks to stay around forever? We don't really want that, actually. Creating parallel economies and parallel lifestyles is exactly how we break that and how we actually get to live better. It's not like a wartime strategy. It's like we will live better if we're not subservient to really disgusting corporatized banks that do everything in their power to own as many politicians as possible, right? Until something comes along, like right now, the banks don't own politicians right now, because right now the political structure is so volatile, and we know what the next election is. Politicians don't have to ask for shit from banks. This is the tipping point. This is where things start to boogie a little bit. We're seeing it, and we don't take our foot off the gas. What we continue to do is what we have been doing. Support the alternative media on YouTube. Support all creators. Support inventors when you can. Get onto crypto and invest 60 cents into something that is going to create a better world, like Helium Protocol, or there's a lot of medical science grants that are actually funded by crypto, so that they're not under the purview of the US's purse strings. These are wonderful things that we can do. If we keep doing this, we keep affecting this change, we keep moving forward, but we can't stop. The next election going the way you want it does not stop this fucking train. You have to keep going. Don't sit back and go, oh, that's all good and that's all over, because the fuckers you elected will fuck you. You have to stay hard. You have to stay alert. Look around. Stay the fuck awake. If you blink, you will get fucking nailed to the wall. Keep it frosty, and we can push the ball over the goal line here. It's right there.
You know, I think the best advice that was given right there by Jay Shaw, everybody, Mr. Unacceptable himself, Jay Shaw. I think the best advice you gave there is stay hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you
Yeah.
take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Stay hard.
Life is going to be brutal, and it's going to suck all the time. Don't ever kid yourself into thinking it won't.
For those of you at home that are taking that into some sort of sexual connotation, that's not what we mean at all.
No.
At all. That's not what we mean.
No.
We
just
mean,
like David Goggins. I got it from David Goggins, by the way. Shout out to David Goggins.
We
Keep
mean stay vigilant, stay hard, stay firm in your stance, and keep your head on a swivel. And on that note, that is going to do it for us here at the Unacceptables. It's Fake News Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for those of us that joined us on Twitter, on YouTube, on Rumble, on Facebook, TikTok, wherever you joined us from and wherever you see us from. Much love. Have a good rest of your night, and we will see you again here at the same time on Thursday. We're probably going to do a pre-show Thursday. I'm not sure if we're going to get that going or not, but either way, we'll see you here 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard or Pacific Daylight Time for one more year. Right here where you find us. So again, thanks for joining us, and look at the bottom of the screen. In any situation, you'll always find where to find us there for our socials and all that good stuff. All right. Thanks. Much
Correction,
love,
it's 7 months. It's 7 months for time change.
7 months. All right. I stand corrected.
Don't do anything. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, you guys.
Definitely don't do anything Jay would do. All right. Much love, kids. We'll see you again Thursday.